Welcome to Knife Thoughts. This video is going to be on this pry bar, and this is the Axial Pinch Bar 2.0. So I've actually had this for a long time and have been meaning to make a video and kind of dragging my feet a little bit. But this is the second version of the pinch bar, as the 2.0 would suggest, from Axial. And the first version was a pry bar that was made overseas. It was a titanium pry bar. I really liked it and I lost it. I think that I let my son uh, play with it and I don't know, it got dropped somewhere or something, but I haven't been able to find it. And so I was really excited to see that they were doing a new version. So as soon as these came out, I bought one and was really looking forward to it. And kind of in the process of getting it, Axial mentioned that they were working on another version of this, particularly, I believe, with a pocket clip. And so that's going to really be my focus on this video is the pocket clip situation. So first of all, let me talk about the good things about this pry bar. So as you can see here, it is handcrafted in Utah, USA. And so it's made in the USA, whereas the previous version was made overseas. Some people had also mentioned that the previous version looked kind of like I think a Lynch Northwest pry bar, but how different are pry bars looking? Like it was not, in my opinion, a copy. But anyway, this one is made here in the U.S. Axial has been, from my discussions with them, working hard to bring all of their production in house, not only in the USA but in house. They're really working to ramp up their own production. But this is made in the USA, so that's one really nice thing. Another nice thing is that it has these bits, so you can see they do need these O-rings to hold them in. I prefer if they can be held in with like magnets or something like that. I think I just don't really love having O-rings on things. But the O-rings hold them in fine. I have carried and used this without any issue. And then they go into this slot here, maybe. It's possible that I over tightened this. There we go. Yeah, so I definitely did over tighten that. But they do go in there. And then you can, use the bits. And so you've got a Phillips and a flathead. So you got some good bits. You could also get knife related bits like Torx T8 and T6, but they come with these. You actually might have the option to get Torx instead, but mine came with this one. And so they just kind of fit into that little pocket. And then again, you can roll these O-rings over and they are held in nicely. The other thing that I like about this is the actual pry tip. So some pry bars have relatively thick pry tips to the point that they're not really that great at getting into tight spaces and prying. This is not the case on this one. This one has a very, very thin pry edge. In fact, so thin that I think that was one of the things I said to them, like, you might want to make it a little bit thicker because this is getting towards where, if you were trying to carry this on a plane or something like that, they might question that. And I've carried pry bars on planes lots of times without issue, not this one specifically though. So hopefully you can see that this comes down to a really nice thin edge. And so it's not going to cut you. Like you can see, it's not going to cut you, but it will open packages, cut tape, things like that, much better than something like this or this, which I will talk about these ones more later. But you can see, hopefully, that the edges on, I guess I should put them thinnest to thickest here. So the edge is so much thinner on this than on this Nice Guy Machine Company Middleman or this Gear Infusion Ever Ratchet clip. So if you want it to be able to open packages and stuff, like have it instead of a knife, if you can't carry a knife, it will do better. You do also have this nail puller. I have never used the nail puller. I don't know if it's intended to like cut rope also, because it also comes to a thin kind of edge in there, but I haven't used it for that. Now it also has a bottle opener. I have basically no use for a bottle opener. I don't drink and don't drink pop, and so don't have a use for it. But it doesn't hurt. It also, one thing that actually Nice Guy Machine Company has talked about is that it makes it obvious what it is, right? Like when you look at this, everybody sees this and thinks, oh, that's a bottle opener, not, oh, it's a stabby pry bar, which that is not at all what this is for. As Nice Guy Machine Company somebody sometimes says, adversarial eye poker, which I personally don't think that pry bars are really going to be that useful for that, at least for me. But this does not look like that. Like it's not a intimidating looking pry bar. Now, moving on to what is not good about this. As I mentioned, it does not have a clip. And I actually thought that this was kind of an interesting their own take on a clip. I thought when I bought it that this was a clip. It actually does lift up a little bit, so I don't know if you'll be able to see that because it only lifts up a tiny bit, and I think that's why I had ratcheted it down to try to get it to not be lifted up. But it does lift up a little bit off of the kind of frame of it. But what this actually is just a way for there to be this bit holder. So it's not a clip, it's just for the bit holder. And I just really think that this would be better with specifically a clip, but it definitely needs to have some way to carry it, right? So, for example, if you know, are familiar with Nice Guy Machine Company, they often have, not always, but often have a clip. So this one has a really big clip. Not that it's the world's greatest clip. I actually think that this clip has far too much tension and doesn't have really a very good angle of like getting it in and out of the pocket. But it has a clip, right? You can see it's a similar size, so you can imagine a clip would be good on this. And then another example, you've got things like integral clips, so they're just kind of milled into or cut out of the handle, as on this Ever Ratchet clip. I like this also. I would use this not so much in the pocket, but I have used it a lot as a keychain holder, basically. So put your keychain there or here and slip it into your belt loop, and you're good to go. Could have something like that here, or even something like this. So this is a Pico bar or something like that from County Com, and you can see it doesn't have a clip. It's very inexpensive. I don't think they're available anymore, unfortunately, but it's very inexpensive. And you can see it at least has a hole for a key ring or a lanyard or something. So, I really think that this would benefit from some sort of carry mechanism. Aside from right now, you could either just throw it in your pocket or put it into a EDC pouch. So that's actually how I carried it, is in an EDC pouch when I was using an EDC pouch. I'm not currently, and I found that it was too thick to carry in my wallet. It's actually a pouch. It's a zippered pouch, but it doesn't have outside pockets like that. So I really think that this would benefit from a clip. They could even use these two holes for a clip on this side. That's what I would recommend. To make this a really, really great pry bar, I would recommend putting just tiny little magnets in here to hold these in rather than the O-rings, or like a bar system or something. I've seen detents and stuff like that, but really just put some magnets in there and that would be great. And then put a clip on this side. You wouldn't, these O-rings wouldn't need to be there then, so they wouldn't be messing with the clip. And you can keep this system for the bit holder if you like. You just make the screws go through and into this side. So that would be my recommendation. And I think with that, with the addition of a clip and magnets, this would be a really, really great EDC pry bar. Something that I think I would carry a lot. So I'm hoping that Axial still does come out with a pinch bar 2.5 or 2.5 or 3, something like that. And if they do, especially if it has those features, I will pick one up. But I have enjoyed getting to check this out. I enjoy getting to see Axial's kind of progression through things, how they work through and improve things. And if you are interested in Axial knives or their other gear, make sure you use the link in my description. That's an affiliate link, helps me out, and lets them know you heard about it here. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments below, check out my website, knifethoughts.com, where I post articles on knives and EDC gear like this. And last but not least, as always, don't forget to go out and do good.